It gives me wonderful pleasure to welcome you this morning to the National Museum of Ireland for the opening of Little Houses. My name is Lynn Scarf. I'm the Director of the National Museum of Ireland, and this has been a project that has long been in our minds over this period of COVID, and we're delighted this morning to have the official opening with all of the young people and some very important speakers here this morning. So I suppose just by way of introduction, Little Houses, I think, well, there's so much to say about it, actually, and there's a lot of people here better placed to say it than me, but from the point of view of the museum, I just want to extend a huge and sincere thanks to everybody that's been involved in this project. There's been such amazing energy, such fantastic time, such talent from the young people involved, artists that have collaborated, filmmakers, photographers, Mendicity, who made the structures for them to fill out their rooms on. And I think I've been up to visit it a number of times since it's been installed, and every single time there's another item or a story to tell or another layer, and it's just wonderful to be in a position as a National Museum to bring these works into our national collection, and as well to hopefully inspire other young people to tell their story and to tell their experience. And I think the most important thing that we can all do really today is listen to that and hear what they're trying to tell us and hear about their own experiences and plan for how we can make the communities and the societies they live in better ones. So on that note, it gives me wonderful pleasure to introduce Minister of State Malcolm Noonan this morning, who officially will launch the exhibition and who I think has just been up to see it, and I know was taking so many photographs, and I think is just as overwhelmed as everybody else. Minister Noonan, thank you.
Thanks, Lynn, and good morning, everybody. First of all, it's a great privilege to be here today and to be asked to formally launch this exhibition. I met some of the young people in Stoneybatter when we were launching at Open House Dublin up in the impressive surroundings of Poolbeg Power Station a number of weeks ago, and we spoke about this project a little bit, and I said I'd love to come and see it, and lo and behold, here I am launching it, so I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. It's interesting because I'm just thinking back of the first lockdown, and I was at home in Kilkenny shortly after being elected, and I spent quite a number of weeks with my two young children cycling around the empty streets of Kilkenny, and it was a magical time, and it was really tragic and magical. It was terrible what was going on, but have that time with your children to be able to spend exploring your city where there's no traffic and there's no it was just really quite special. It's something I'll remember. And as everything's opening up now, and we're back into that level of busyness, and it is something I'll cherish for a long time. But the experience of the lockdown was different for everybody, and for young people, I think, in particular, we have two teenagers at home as well, and again, their experience was incredibly challenging. And to be locked down into your 5K, to be with all of the challenges that presents, be it in a city, be it in a town, in rural Ireland, everybody's experience was different. And I think what's really important, as I hope we are emerging from the pandemic, there's a long road to go yet, I think it's really important that we document that. I think that we document people's stories and that we're aware and conscious of what challenges it put forward for young people in particular. I'm really conscious of the challenges that are presented for young people. And that's why I think this exhibition is really important in terms of telling the story, in terms of documenting the experiences of young people through that really incredible time in their lives, because these pandemics are once in 100-year events. They could be more in the future, we don't know. Lots of things are shifting and changing so much over the last number of years. And I'm really just impressed by this collaborative partnership between the National Museum of Ireland and Stoneybatter Youth Services. I think it's a really important partnership. And I was saying above, looking at the exhibition, this is something that's replicable across the country and could be and should be, I think, replicated. It's and sometimes it's projects like this that spark the imagination across the country, and that hopefully we might see something very similar emerging from other communities around the country. And I think that idea of the relationship between the museum and the local community, I think, is really important as well. This museum is on your doorsteps, on the doorsteps of the young people and of the community. And I think it's really important that you're part of that story. And I think that's, even talking about the conservator work of conserving the exhibition now, because it's going to become part of the exhibition of the National Museum and part of its curatorial work. I think that's really important as well. Similar projects, as I said, I think have taken place in my own community in Kilkenny as well, with the local community and Butler Gallery. So I just really want to thank everybody, for Helen Beaumont, the Education and Outreach, for the work that was done during a lockdown, incredibly challenging to try and carry out that work, and the germ of this idea for Little Houses that Joanne Visser brought, inspired by something she had seen in the miniature house in the Netherlands. I think it's really wonderful that she brought that idea here, and how it's manifested itself in this wonderful exhibition. The Mendicity Institution workshop, again, who work with homeless service users, who made the triptych models for the exhibition. I think the idea of, initially when I saw the exhibits, I thought these were one box created by one young person, but the idea that they're three separate pieces, strands brought together, hinged together from three young people on their experiences, and that collaborative element of young people that may not know each other, but now know each other through the project, I think is really very, very special. And as well, the artist Maria McKinney, as guest curator on this project, the idea of using found materials, because a lot of the materials that you see used in the exhibit are on our streets, they're discarded, we see face masks everywhere, lying in the gutters. We see a lot of found materials and plastic objects that are unfortunately ending up in our environment. And it's wonderful to see that reuse of materials and the rethinking of what we can do with these materials for work like this. I suppose the other thing that's really impressed me this morning is meeting the young people themselves. They're just amazing people, and I was so grateful for the time that you've shown me this morning, just in explaining the exhibitions and explaining your work and your thought processes around carrying out this work. It's something I'm sure that the process of which you must have, and I hope you did, find therapeutic in coming to terms with what happened to you, because particularly over the last year, the last 18 months, it has been hugely challenging, and I really want to continue acknowledging that. And I suppose the other thing in my reflection on this morning and the exhibition is the idea of home and what home means to us all, because it means something very different to us all. I mean, we've seen during the pandemic around the issue of homelessness, how it became more pronounced and how government had to respond to the homeless crisis in a different way, and how new communities, our traveller communities, how everybody was challenged by the fact that we were now confined to a space that was now quite dangerous because of ventilation and because of other issues that presented themselves throughout the pandemic, and that we're still trying to respond to. And as well as that, and I'm conscious of this as I head back to the Dáil shortly, what we define home, and in our perspective, and from a policy perspective, we talk about units and about property and housing and targets. And really this is about people's lived experience, about how they have to respond to these challenges, and that our home is a space of refuge. Our home is a place where, when we were confined throughout the last 18 months, it has been an important space that we have tried to learn from our well-being and mental health perspective to adapt to a very changed set of circumstances. I also hope that, and I certainly know that from the young people's involvement in Open House Dublin, that an interest in architecture and space and placemaking will be part and parcel of this project. John Toomey, the architect, says that architects must engage in social processes of exchange and consensus. And I think that the ideas of our streets and our homes as places of exchange and interaction is really critically important, as we go away from that idea of creating units and creating communities that are diverse, communities that are sustainable, that have biodiversity in them, and that communities and young people can feel safe to grow up in. I think that's really important as well. Again, just thanks to Lynn, thanks to Helen Bowman, Joanne, Billy, and Gilton of the Dublin Education and Training Board, everybody that has been involved in this young project, but more importantly, the young people themselves. I'm deeply impressed by what I've seen here this morning. It wasn't quite what I expected, but I'm just astonished by the work and the participation. And, you know, we have a big challenge collectively ahead of us as we try to reimagine a whole different future for us all. We look at COP26 going on. And from my perspective, I want to ensure in all the work that I'm doing around biodiversity and nature and marine and that young people are centrally involved in the work that we do. We're going to have a Citizens Assembly on biodiversity, and I want a specific element for young people as well. Young people need to be central to the conversation about the future of our country and our planet, and I want to ensure that that happens. And that's why this morning has really inspired me to continue to try that collaboration and to use processes, collaborative arts practices like this to ensure that young people have a voice and that their voice is heard. I really want to thank you all for the invitation this morning, particularly again to thank the young people for your time and for explaining your work, your beautiful, beautiful work to me this morning. And I look forward to hearing your own contributions here this morning. But again, this is a really special exhibition, and I hope it gets lots of coverage and gets widespread support. As I said, I'd love to see it replicated throughout the country because I think it's a really important piece of work. Again, thanks very much, everybody. Go Michael.
Good Minister, for those really thoughtful words, which I think echo how many of us feel about the exhibition this morning. And it's my great pleasure now to introduce Irina.
Hello, my name is Irina, and in my board, I want to express what I have been feeling during last year's lockdown. Isolated, scared, lost, and without a clear sight for my future. I was losing myself and a year of my youth. I painted myself in black and white, looking out at the window to convey emptiness, loneliness, and not being able to go out and explore. I wanted to show all my dreams collapsed and remained closed in one small room. And outside there was a beautiful world that I took for granted. The Little House project gave me and other people a chance to share experience and support each other. It was easier knowing that we were all in this together. I want to say thank you to Billy and Johanna and the Stoneybatter Youth Club because they gave me many opportunities and memories. During the summer, we did a workshop on Zoom and a workshop with the Irish Architecture Foundation with Mohammed. My favorite memory is when we went to Tata Park in the Halloween break. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Irina, thank you so much. And it's not very easy to get up and stand in front of a room full of people and tell them about your experience, and you did it incredibly eloquently. Well done. Thank you. I think, Jasmine, are you going to say a few words about yours as well? Is that right? Or were you going to come up with Johanna? Come up and talk now, Jasmine. I think we'd like to hear from you guys first. So, yeah.
Good morning. My name is Jasmine, and I've been in Stoneybatter Youth Service since I was only 11 and in 6th class. So now I'm 14 and in 3rd year. So over the past 3 years or so, I've had so many memories and new experiences that I wouldn't have had unless I was in youth service. So we've learned so much through workshops with the Irish Architecture Foundation, and we've done art workshops on whether it was digital, sculpture, or architecture. It was such an experience. And now this project in particular has given us like so much opportunity to express how we felt through lockdown. And obviously it's exciting for, having our project in the National Museum of Ireland. So I want to thank everyone who's helped us do this and everyone who's given us the opportunity. So Billy and Johanna, thanks for giving us the opportunity to even take part in this. And Luke for helping out with the video, and Helen for being there all the time, like helping us with the whole project. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. And to Menda City. It was great working with you all.
Thanks so much, Jasmine. And again, I think with you guys, we're in safe hands for the future. Thank you for so much explaining your experience and the care that you've put into everything. I think now we're going to watch a little video. Is that right? Yeah. So the projects like these involve many people, and we've had really with Helen's work and the team, a long relationship with Stoneybatter Youth Service and with the local community. And I do hope that the museum is always thought of as being a third space, another space, part of your extended home and community. And I think having your wonderful work here is a really important part of that. And I hope that you get a chance to bring your friends and your mates and whomever down to see it. The film I think that we're going to see is this Luke Mcmanus's? Yeah. And Luke is, oh, hi, Luke. Good to see you. So videographer Luke Mcmanus was engaged to make a film about the project. And there's been a lot of other people involved at different points. I know that, Irina, you mentioned, I think, Mohammed from the Irish Architecture Foundation, who's here as well. Welcome, Mohammed, who worked as well as part of a workshop with the Irish Architects Foundation Architects in Schools scheme as well. But we will play Luke's video, which will tell us a little bit more about the film. So if we could cue that, please. Thanks.
There should be no travel outside of 2 kilometres radius of your home for any reason. These are radical actions aimed at saving as many people's lives as possible in the days and weeks ahead.
My project is about my friends and I seeing each other after a long time, and the door I painted it green with wooden sticks, and the floor it's feathers, rainbow feathers.
I was talking about the life of Corona, so like the way the government puts rules out there. I was showing 2 people socially distancing, and they were wearing, like, I used a reusable mask, and I cutted it out, and I cutted it very small so I could put it on the people I made, and then they were also socially distancing. I wrote the guidelines and rules, so you have to wash your hands, you have to wear a mask, and you have to social distance.
I made it celebrating my birthday in lockdown. I still had it with some people, but I really wanted to have it with my friends, but we don't do that. But in lockdown,
it was me sitting beside my window and looking out at nature, because I try to show that I feel isolated and I miss going to different places.
Well, I really missed Hato Park, and every birthday I went there on my birthdays, and I love the roller coasters. That's
What's your favorite roller coaster?
the biggest one ever.
The Collins?
Yeah.
That's my favorite one as well.
I have to say it was nice to do a project like that, because we were all kind of just stuck at the house. Yeah. And I actually got the family not arguing for once. So it was quite nice just working together. His sister ended up doing the guitar, and he done the small one, and then he done the little car because he wanted to travel.
I done the big one.
Oh, you done the big one?
Yeah, I done the big one.
Okay,
yeah.
He done the big one.
My board, it's kind of literally life during lockdown, and then it's each little thing kind of consciously represents something that I've done during lockdown. So in my board, I've created a window with a tumbleweed rolling outside, basically say isolation. and then just little things like I put weights on the wall covered in cobwebs.
Looking at them now, I think they've been able to create this sort of mental space that kind of allowed them a little bit of an escape from what was maybe going on.
Some are really cute, and then some they have like a whole story behind it, and it's really impressive.
We didn't know what was going to come back. It's like sending someone off with a camera and asking them to come back with something. When they started coming back with their little projects, it was just a kind of a joy to see the different styles and the different relationships that they had with the space that they were in.
So much talent out there in our community here in Stoneybatter. It's really good.
Through these artworks, we've got really interesting documents about what young people were going through during this very weird time.
Usually I'm like a chatterbox. I'm like, chatterbox right now.
Wow. So, if everybody needs to gather themselves after that. So the next person I have to introduce, and you'll have seen throughout the video and through everybody talking this morning, is Johanna. I think Johanna and Billy and what's happening in the Stoneybatter Youth Service is just really just so wonderful. I'm delighted to have you here, Johanna.
Hello all. My name is Johanna Visser and I'm a youth worker in Stoneybatter Youth Service. As a youth worker, I believe that it's part of my job to come up with exciting and new program ideas which will interest young people to join. So when I read about the article in my local Dutch newspaper, I straight away thought we in Stoneybatter Youth Service should do something similar. So the Little Houses projects was just something young people could do in their own homes while being in lockdown. The beauty of this project is that there is no right or wrong. It is highlighting the positive things in young people's lives during the COVID-19 pandemic. The young people are using art to express themselves by creating their own rooms. It's about their dreams, what makes them happy or sad, or what were they missing the most when we were all stuck in our homes away from our peers. All participants received a construction package at home, which included mainly recycled craft materials and tips how to decorate their wooden board. 3 room parts together form one complete room. In this way, each participant is connected to 2 other people that they might never met before. This is a unique way to bring people together through art from all different backgrounds. Art is such a powerful tool for us youth workers. Art gives young people the ability to express themselves, and when you see young people's art, you are seeing the world through their eyes, and this helps us youth workers to understand their world. Creativity can have a positive impact on both self-esteem and overall achievement. It also allows us to be open to new ideas and experiences, and it will help dealing with major challenges in life, like being for such a long time in lockdown during the pandemic. A few weeks ago, me and Billy were here in the National Museum at the open house weekend, and we already got such a positive feedback of the public about the Little Houses exhibition. Also parents and guardians and grandparents, they're so proud of their children to be part of this exhibition. It is just wonderful to see that so many people already benefit from the Little Houses exhibition in so many different ways. The National Museum is not only a museum, but also a place that is welcoming, approachable, and a creative environment where we all can learn so much about our history. I want to thank Helen and Cara for all the help and having so much patience with me. You were great, thank you so much. Also the two men of Mendicity, Andre and Joseph, for making all the wooden boards. And it was a pleasure to work with Luke Mcmanus, who did a fantastic job creating this amazing video. And last but not least, I would like to thank all the young people who took part. You were just the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Johanna. And now Anne Gilton, who is the Director of Further Education and Training with the City of Dublin Educational Training Board, is going to say a few words. Anne.
Thank you very much, and I promise I will be very quick. I'm delighted to be here on behalf of City of Dublin ETB and to have had this amazing experience this morning. I know that young people were asked to think about the positives and the challenges that they experienced during lockdown. And I'm sure that in the future you will look back, and I hope that you will remember this project as a very positive and a great achievement for you during this very difficult time. You linked out into the community from your rooms, your homes. You linked in with Mendicity Services, delighted to see you here, I haven't met you previously. You worked individually as young people and you worked together as a group. You linked in with artists, Collins Barracks, architects, of course the Youth Service. And this was amazing collaboration, and it was all wrapped up in Johanna's and Billy's vision and creativity. And thank you for bringing that here today. It is an amazing collaboration, and you have shown us how it is possible to work in new ways, how it's possible to collaborate and be creative in very difficult times. As a mother, I was at home with my young daughter, complaining that she was stuck at home with nothing to do, and I'm quite sure that if she'd been involved in some kind of a project like this, it would have made things a lot easier for her and for the rest of us at home, and it was lovely to see the parents saying that on the video. The Minister talked about it being a magical experience walking in Kilkenny. For me, I got to walk in Dublin City and to reconnect with the city and the streets in Dublin. And I spent a lot of time in Stoneybatter as it happened. I was being nosy, looking around, amazing houses, back streets. I saw yards with houses, stables, horses, some very old Dublin traditions as part of Stoneybatter, and it's great to see all of that and to be able to experience it with no traffic, quietly walking around and just enjoying my city again. So I want to say thank you very much to the young people here today who have allowed me and others to hear your thoughts, to see what you experienced, and for you allowing us into your world. You spoke bravely about the people that you lost, the people you missed, and the people who helped you during very difficult times. These are little houses with very big people inside them. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks so much, Anne. And finally, Helen Beaumont is going to get up and speak. Thank you.
So firstly, thank you all for coming this morning, and thank you, Minister Noonan. It was a pleasure to meet you again on this occasion and have the opportunity to show you the exhibition and talk about it. And thank you for your lovely words as well. I'd like to thank Director Lynn Scarf and the members of the Museum's Exhibition Working Group who gave the go-ahead for this exhibition way back in April 2020 and supported the aims of the project, seeing and understanding how this project meets priorities outlined in the Museum's Statement of Strategy in terms of public and community engagement. Through this support, we were able to give young people in our community a platform and a space in the museum and demonstrate the museum's aim of adopting a participant-centred approach. I'd like to thank our project partners in the Stoneybatter Youth Service and the City of Dublin Youth Services Board. I suppose in particular Jennifer Kavanagh, Tanya McIntaggart, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here today, Billy McRae and Johanna deserves, I think, I'd like to especially thank Johanna for bringing the idea of the little houses to us from the Netherlands. And just again, likewise, Johanna, I'd like to acknowledge your patience with me, so it works both ways. Thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge the support of other people that I know were very important working with the youth service in the project. Geraldine Nugent, who's great to see today, Geraldine from ASOG, and others who contributed step by step. The Schools Completion Programme and St Gabriel's National School, with whom we have a long and strong relationship. There are a number of people who were very key to the project, including Maria McKinney, the artist who was very sorry she couldn't be here today, who worked with the young people as guest curator on the installation of the exhibition. And thanks to Luke Mcmanus, who's also here, engaged to create the film that you saw. Luke is also a Stoneybatter resident, and I think you'll agree with me that his film captures the voices of the young people and some of the magic of the project. We're also indebted to Andy Sheridan. Andy is a photographer who we engaged to take photographs of all the artworks. And his absolutely beautiful photographs enable each artwork to be seen on its own, as well as in its group of three. And I think that was really important. Andy's photographs feature in the book that you can look through in the exhibition upstairs. But the quality of his photography is amazing, and it's particularly evident in the website of the exhibition, which goes live today and will be a kind of a permanent document of this project. I'd also like to thank Vermilion Design, and Stephen is here. It's great, so many of you came and were able to come. So thank you, Stephen, and your colleagues in Vermilion Design who worked on the design for both the on-site and online exhibition. And I'd also like to thank the Mendicity Workshop, who were really important to this project, especially the workshop manager, Andre, and Joseph, and the boards that you made for the artworks. And I'm so delighted that you could both make it today. I'd also like to thank the support of the Irish Architecture Foundation, with whom we're collaborating on a series of projects as long-term partners across the museum sites. Blohin Quinn, Education Curator, and Mohammed Ashur, who's here today again. Thanks, Mohammed, for coming along. Mohammed facilitated a workshop at the museum with some of the young people from Stoneybatter, investigating themes reflected in the Little Houses exhibition, including questions about what home means to us. That's come up a few times this morning. Mohammed encouraged the young people to consider what's important to them in their community spaces and the places where they live and learn and play, and we are planning to follow up and continue this exploration, which I'm really excited about. I'd like to thank my colleagues in the Education Department, the Head of Education, Lorraine Comer, for her support, encouragement and advice along the way, and she was really sorry she couldn't be here today. I want to thank the great team that I work with, Diarmuid Bolger, Grace Dignam and Aisling Dunn, and a special mention to my colleague Cara May O'Mahony, who's been incredible working alongside me on the project over the past year. Thank you, Cara. I'd also like to acknowledge the staff across many departments of the museum who helped us. It's always a team effort, and I can't name everybody, but just to thank our conservation colleagues who helped to ensure that the artworks were safe to come into the museum and go on display, our facilities colleagues who helped and supported the installation, our IT colleagues who advised and supported the development of the exhibition website, and our marketing colleagues who've been amazing in creating awareness of the project and are behind the planning of this launch with Q4PR. I also need to thank the Office of Public Works for assistance in the exhibition installation. Lastly, I just need to thank all the artists who contributed artworks to the exhibition, and all the young people who've turned up today, including the guys at Sandra and Heidi and Latoya. I can see you there at the back, and Jasmine and Octavian and Irina. I'm sorry, Irina, don't know why I suddenly went blank there. So, thank you to all of you, of the artists. It's been a privilege to work with Stoneybatter Youth Service and the local young people in our community on this project. Sorry. Each and every artwork reflects or expresses something about this strange, challenging, and I hope unique time. The range of themes explored is rich and varied, from very moving stories of loss and loneliness to the hilarious and the joyful. And the exhibition is an important record of the pandemic for the museum, and I'm sure that the artworks are going to resonate with and engage our museum visitors over the coming months. Thank you.
So, thank you all. I'll just wrap up. On behalf of the museum, this is what we should be. We should be places that are creative anchors, bringing together everybody in our community who has so much to give and to show the work. And I think that this project is a great example of that. You can see when Helen's speaking, just the range and the talent, and I'm looking across the room at all the people who have been involved. And I suppose I'd just like to finish by saying thank you to each and every one of you for your creative spirit, for allowing us to show that in our museum. And I look forward to the reaction of all of the visitors that come and are going to be inspired by your work. And I also look forward to the fact that your work is going to be there for hundreds of years to come in our collection, representing this moment in time. And that's a huge thing. When we look back and try and understand what we went through over the last number of months, we're going to do it through your work. That's just a really wonderful thing. So thank you all so much. Have a wonderful morning. Thank you.